This is a MIDI piano playing a bunch of notes in a remarkably non-musical manner. Don't try to play it. The score is not meant for humans. This is the result of converting a sound clip into a MIDI file. Here, listen again. Did you catch that? It's a neat trick, but how does it work? After all, it's just a bunch of notes, right? The short answer is yes, this is just a bunch of notes. There's no trickery going on here. In fact, YouTuber Mark Rober built a physical piano that can do this for real. Now, the answer lies in the anatomy of sound. This is a sine wave. You probably remember that from math class. This one's playing a C, but let's see what happens when we add a few more on top of it. This is a saw wave, and as we just demonstrated, it's built out of sine waves. You can make other shapes too. Square, triangle. You could actually construct any wave you want if you stack enough sine waves, including the waves that are entering your ears right now, which you recognize as my voice. In this context, a single sine is a frequency, basically just some pitch measured in hertz, or events per second. So if I play a sine wave at 440 hertz, that means that the wave repeats 440 times each second. As it so happens, 440 hertz is what us musicians call an A. Knowing that, you might have already figured out how the illusion works. Take the voice clip, split it into its frequencies, then map those frequencies to keys on a piano. It's not a perfect translation, considering that a piano does not sound quite like a sine wave, and it doesn't account for the frequencies that exist between keys, but it's still pretty neat. Sine waves have the tendency to interact with each other in some unique ways. For instance, if you hear two sine waves that are just barely out of tune, you might start hearing these beats, like they're fading in and out ever so slightly. In fact, if you count the number of beats each second, that tells you how far apart they are in hertz. This is all just a byproduct of the way the math works out. If you add together the two sine waves, you'll see them go up and down. For this next part, I'm going to be using a tool made by Alexander Chen on GitHub. I've linked it in the description if you want to try it yourself. What we have here are a bunch of sine waves. If we click this one on the left, we'll get 100 hertz, which is about a G2, just 2 hertz above it actually. Now, if we multiply that by 2, we get 200 hertz, which is an octave higher, G3. As it turns out, no matter where you are in the scale, whenever you double the hertz value, you get an octave higher. In the same way, if you go down an octave, you'll have the hertz. Let's keep going to 300 hertz. Perfect fifth above the octave. One more. 400 hertz, and we have yet another octave, making sense since that's double 200 hertz. If we go further on, 500, 600, 700, and 800. We've kind of made a dominant 7 chord there. This is called the Harmonic Series, also known as the overtone series. The first pitch, 100 hertz, is the fundamental. Then we have the first overtone, second overtone, third, fourth, fifth, etc. The sequence can go on as long as you want, too, but as you get higher and higher, the distance between overtones decreases. You can already see this here. At the bottom, the first two are an octave. And the last two here, 7 and 8, are just a major second. The way overtones appear in music is that in most cases you aren't dealing with pure sine waves. Most instruments, including your voice, naturally produce the harmonic series. One of my favorite demonstrations of this is with a piano.
I showed them that. I said, I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to play a cluster. I'm going to push it all down. I'm going to do that nice and slow. Okay, and let's see what happens when I do it again. Here we go. You're hearing primarily just the overtone series.
A great way to see how frequencies appear in sounds is with a tool called a spectrogram. Time goes right to left, and frequencies go up and down. At any given instant, you can see the frequencies that make up a sound. This is a direct visualization of timbre, and can be used to analyze exactly why instruments sound different from each other. It's also a great way to analyze your voice, and really draws out how your pitch can change with inflection. Try this with a spectrogram. Start singing ooh, then gradually shift to E. Ooh. You can see exactly how your voice changes as you transition between the vowels. If you still don't fully understand all of this, that's okay. There's a lot of math and physics behind it. Here are the key takeaways. Sounds are made up of frequencies, which are just sine waves. The overtone series is built by multiplying the fundamental frequencies hertz and influences the way things sound. Lastly, the spectrogram is a tool that you can use to visually analyze frequencies and see timbral differences in sounds. Try using a spectrogram to analyze your instrument or your voice and compare it to other instruments and voices.